State of the Nation and the 2023 general elections. Insecurity has continued to haunt our nation. The Boko Haram militia, Fulani headsmen, bandits, and unknown gunmen have continued to unleash terror in different parts of the country. Property worth billions of naira has been raised. Hundreds of lives have been lost in very brutal circumstances, and many more have been maimed. Communities have been sacked and their inhabitants displaced on account of the activities of unidentified persons and some government security agents. Kidnapping for ransom is on the increase. Nowhere seems safe. Highways, homes, and even the sacred presence of worshiping centers. Some of our church personnel have been victims of abduction and arson. Our people have continued to live in a gloomy atmosphere of fear and anxiety and groan with anguished hearts. Our collapsing national economy worsens the ugly situation. While the value of the naira continues to decline, the cost of basic commodities, including food items, continues to soar, with serious effects on the lives and livelihoods of our people. On account of long persistent fuel scarcity, Nigerians spend endless hours in long queues under harsh weather conditions, trying to buy fuel at exorbitant prices. This disastrous implementation of the Central Bank of Nigeria's cash swap policy, which resulted in a cash crunch, has added to the ordeal, anger, and frustration of the masses. On account of the hard-biting economic conditions, many of our brothers and sisters are pauperized and go to bed without food. Many of them are resorting to crime and begging to survive. This situation is further compounded by the growing debt burden that is mortgaging our future and the future of generations coming after us. The government seems overwhelmed by the situation. Despite its claim that it's on top of the matter, however, all hope is not lost. With the forthcoming general elections drawing close, people perceive a glimmer of light after a very long and dark tunnel. The untold and undeserved suffering to which Nigerians have been subjected over the years is a good preparation for us to vote wisely during the forthcoming general elections. The elections, if well conducted, can be a turning point in our political and economic history. We therefore urge all to play their roles maturely and creditably during the period of the general elections. Candidates vying for political offices should prove themselves to be decent, respectable, peaceful, and honest Nigerians, rather than engage in mudslinging, acrimony, arson, buying and selling of votes, threats, intimidation, and violence. They should focus on marketing their manifestos as they campaign for votes. Political contests should never be perceived as battlefield encounters or do or die affairs. Any candidate who is prepared to shed blood or to spend huge sums of money to buy votes or to compromise INEC shows that he or she is seeking political office for pure self-aggrandizement. It stands to reason that no one who wishes to render selfless service to the public for the common good of all will spend huge sums of money to induce those he intends to serve unselfishly. We wish to remind the faithful of their civic and moral responsibility of voting during elections. We encourage all citizens to go to the polls en masse to exercise their franchise. The forthcoming general elections allow us to choose competent leaders who can turn our economy around. Each voter should endeavor to get enlightened about the background and past records of candidates seeking political offices. For the sake of the common good, every voter should vote wisely. No one should vote out of clannish, ethnic, or religious considerations or for perceived personal gains. We are bound by conscience to shun financial inducement and to vote only for people of unquestionable integrity with proven records of competence, capacity, and commitment to the common good. The Independent Electoral Commission, INEC, should live above board as an independent and impartial empire and ensure that their conduct in the electoral process is beyond reproach. We urge INEC officers to be punctual on election days and ensure that all the sensitive electoral materials are in place and in time. They should also ensure that the collation and transmission of the electoral results are done transparently and honestly. We applaud INEC for introducing the bimodal voter accreditation system, BVAS, in our electoral process. We hope INEC will ensure that the BVAS machines are functional on election days in all the polling units across the country, even in the remotest wards, following the repeated assurances of its chairman in this regard. Let the fears of in some quarters not be confirmed that the BVAS machines might be manipulated or pre-programmed to be functional in some polling units and dysfunctional in others. Any infraction by INEC staff on the use of the BVAS during the general elections should be reported to the appropriate bodies. Law enforcement agents have the primary duty of enforcing law and order during the elections, as well as ensuring the safety and integrity of sensitive electoral materials. We urge them to be professional in the exercise of their duties by being impartial, civil, and yet efficient. They should neither connive at election rigging nor aid and abet it. The electoral process should not be militarized. The military should not be used to intimidate voters or political opponents. Likewise, candidates should shun the use of political talks to disrupt the electoral process or to threaten their political opponents. In general, the youth should not allow themselves to be used as cannon foders by unscrupulous politicians to unleash violence or disrupt the electoral process.